Hey everyone, welcome to this week's episode of Claw Combos. It's Sheila and Maya Dunn here, and we have a special guest, Tavares Brewington, with us today. Tavares will be sharing his story and entrepreneurial journey as the founder of Street2Ivy, an organization that is dedicated to empowering entrepreneurs from underserved communities. So we're very excited for this episode. Stay tuned and enjoy.
Hey guys, this is Sheila and Maya Dunn, and you're listening to Claw Combos. Let's go, guys. Let's get it done, bitches.
Okay.
Awesome. Okay, so we're recording now.
One second. Can you let me record as well?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, perfect. I think I'm all good.
Okay, awesome. Well, welcome to Claw Combos. It's great to have you here.
Nice to be here.
To get started, could you just tell us about kind of how you started and evolved, and what's your story with Street2Ivy?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, my story originally, I guess, I don't know how far you want me to go back, but I'm originally from Florida. My parents grew up in the deep South, segregated South. They had very little formal education. And we grew up without much. But for me, through education myself and just opportunity, I've been able to do a lot. I went on to law school, went to business school at Cornell, and I've worked in the Department of Justice, Fortune 50 companies now. And what I really wanted to do with Street2Ivy was to create an organization that focused on helping people make that transition that I made. I'm a first generation person in terms of, going through college, law school, and so on and so forth. And that's what the name is, right? So when you talk about Street2Ivy, I think about growing up in Florida. We were really poor, sometimes homeless. And then one day sitting in the Ivy League classroom at Cornell, and so it's Street2Ivy. And not that everyone wants to go to Ivy League, but it's really our mission is to help people move from that challenge in their life to that dream. And entrepreneurship, I think, is a pathway to do that. And so that is the ethos of Street2Ivy and what we're focused on.
That's amazing. So at what point did you launch Street2Ivy?
I launched it in 2017, 18, in 2017 in December. And I was wrapping up business school, and I did this entrepreneurship, this innovation competition at Cornell, and we won the competition. I had a great time, and I thought, this design thinking and innovation process is so powerful that I think that a lot of people, if they knew it, it could impact their lives. And essentially, it is at a very high level. It's more nuanced than this, but identifying a problem, stating that problem clearly, prototyping a solution to it, and then going to get customer feedback to perfect that solution. And so when having had that experience, I wanted to really bring that concept to more people, because I think it can be used in business and also just in community empowerment, right? We all are unique people. You don't have to be at an Ivy League school or even had gone to college, but really, if you can identify the problem, come up with a solution, and get people to help you perfect it, you can create a great business or be a change maker in your community. And so that really was the genesis of Street2Ivy, having gone through that program.
Can you talk a little about your experience? I mean, the stark contrast between being in the deep South in Florida to going to Cornell. Can you talk a little bit about maybe the first couple of days that you were at Cornell? Was it a just culture shock or anything like that? Or how did you deal with that?
Yeah, so I mean, I didn't go to Cornell until later in my career. I had been a lawyer for years, and I've worked in, international law firms and, again, Fortune 50 companies, the Department of Justice. And then I decided I wanted to go to business school. And so,
Okay.
so it wasn't from Florida to Cornell. But to your point, when I moved from Florida, I moved to Massachusetts when I was in 8th grade. And it was a culture shock in the sense that I went from a place where it was predominantly African American into a small town in Western Massachusetts. We were the only Black family.
Mhm.
And it was a tough transition. But I learned a lot of lessons, made a lot of good friends. But what I was really able to do was really focus on my education in the new environment. It
Mhm.
was quieter, somewhat safer, and I really had a chance to really develop my own skill set around just learning and development, basically.
Do you think you would have changed anything looking back, or do you like now appreciate being able to kind of see all of those different environments?
I think it's made me who I am, and I think what I mean by that is basically I can take risk, right? Because I've been on both ends of the spectrum. I know what it's like to not have much hope and resources and to overcome that. And I know that it takes really thinking outside the box and being creative and being passionate about
Mhm.
opportunities. And so I wouldn't change much of it, because it's really given me a passion for life, for helping people and helping people realize the same things that I've been able to realize over the course of my career.
Mhm.
Our father's father had a similar upbringing, just being kind of on completely both ends of the spectrum, where he would be, super rich one day and then lose all of his money the next. And Sheila and I weren't in those situations, but just kind of him reflecting the lessons he learned on us, I think we've definitely attributed to even having an interest in entrepreneurship and having an interest in being like super financially stable, at least I think have impacted us.
Yeah, I think what it does is gives you a sense that you have some control over your future through
Mhm.
hard work and opportunity. And don't get me wrong, there are a lot of people that work hard, but who don't get the opportunity to progress. And so we as a society have to work on that. But once you get into it, you realize that look, everything's ephemeral. You can be great one day and then something can happen. And how are you going to react to that? And that's a lot about what entrepreneurship is. You have a plan for the day, you have a vision for your business, and then 15 things happen you didn't expect, and you have to react to that. And
Mhm.
it's scary, it's fun, and when you have some success, it's really great and gratifying. And so I mean, I think that is what I've learned through my upbringing and that I bring to the business world.
Yeah, I was actually just writing a blog for Cloud Convos about the DNA of an entrepreneur. Is it nature or nurture? But something that's more nature that many entrepreneurs have in common is this locus of control, which is the extent to which you feel you have control over the events that influence the outcome of your life. So um, I think entrepreneurs tend to feel a little bit more that they control their destiny a little bit, versus feeling like the world is kind of out, they are not in control.
Yeah. I would say that's true for me. I really like to, whether it's fiction in my mind or it's something I just want to believe, I choose to believe that I have some control over the
Mhm.
outcome. And that's something I'm passionate about.
So how did you, based on that belief, I guess, I mean, how much would you attribute to luck? There's that saying, it's better to be lucky than good. Do you feel that it's incredible what you're doing to try, focusing on underserved communities to empower them? How much, I mean, people like, organizations like Street2Ivy are kind of changing this, but do you think that it requires luck? Like, did your life require luck to kind of get you in the position that you're in today?
I definitely think there's some luck involved. There's a lot of hard work, but then there's
Mhm.
fortune, right? Things happen to you that maybe didn't happen for someone else, right? Because I just believe that there are a lot of good people who just haven't had things fall their way.
Mhm.
That being said, though, what I always tell people I mentor and young people I work with is that you can be more lucky if you're moving around and you're more active, right? If you're reaching
Right.
out to people, building relationships, taking risks, developing your skill set so when something does happen, you're prepared to take advantage of it. If you don't do those things, you may be lucky, but the likelihood of that luck happening is a lot less than someone who's waking up every day, trying new things, meeting new people, and just really going for it.
Absolutely.
What would you say is the most important skill or trait for a leader to have, or yeah, I guess a leader, whether in your community or in a company?
I would say the ability to articulate your vision, but not just stop there, because a lot of people can talk a lot about what they want the world to be, but really having the accountability of going out and making an effort. Are you going to be
Right.
successful all the time? No. But you want people to see that you are following through on what you said your vision is, and you're really going for it. And right now, in the wake of everything that's going on in our society, you see a lot of companies coming up with initiatives for diversity and supporting businesses. And unfortunately, a lot of the organizations, they want the surface, appeal of making those statements, but they're not really following through, and they're not really being leaders. And I think on the individual level, the same is true. State your vision and have the integrity to own up to it and go for it.
Yeah, we did an episode a few weeks ago, a little bit about like this corporate signaling and uh, the just the reality of it, with a lot of the Fortune 500 companies really having to practice what they preach a little bit more. But so, can you take us through a little bit more about Street2Ivy? Because I know there's sort of, from the website, it seemed that there was sort of four different components between corporate, the academy, marketplace, and the youth program. Could you just explain the structure and kind of the mission as a whole on those four parts?
Yeah, absolutely. So what we want to do again is bring the entrepreneurship experience and tool to underserved communities, people who they look at TV and see all of these entrepreneurs and say, wow, that's great, but I'm so far away from it. What we wanted to do is demystify that process and that design thinking process. And so the way we're structured is, we say we support aspiring entrepreneurs and actual entrepreneurs. And the way that we do that, we'll focus on the aspiring entrepreneurs first. Our community programs are focused on bringing young people in, or people of any age, frankly, but we've recently focused on a younger demographic and taking them through an entrepreneurship course. And so what we teach them is design thinking. How do you identify that problem? We have all had that experience, like, this will be a great product. I think I want to create this thing, but then you don't know how to do it, right? And so we teach them that design thinking process, and then we go through all of the aspects of business. How do you, once you've created your product, how do you make sure that it's going to be financially viable and make money? And so we do a financial modeling segment, we do a marketing segment, we do a digital marketing segment, and then we talk about funding. How do you raise capital, whether it's debt or equity? How do you build a high-performing team? And so what we do, and the way that program is structured, is we give them a business challenge. The teams come up with a product. They go through all of these modules, and at the end, they participate in a Shark Tank presentation where they present their product and idea and their whole business model to a group of business leaders. And the transformation is unbelievable, because you start out with young people who understand kind of what entrepreneurship is, but they don't believe they can do it. And then once they've gone through the process, they see that it's hard work, but it's really not rocket science. It's just really having someone walk you through the process, and their interest is sparked. And what I like to think is we've created a new class of potential entrepreneurs, because what we teach our people too in the program is that you don't have to be a coder and someone with a special skill. All those things are great, and if you have that, great, but you are unique in your own experience. The value you bring is your authenticity. And so your view on a certain problem could be the difference between someone solving that problem or not. And you have to really take pride in that and bring that to the table. And once they start to believe that, you see these ideas come out that are amazing. We have young people who believe that, look, they may be saying, I'm not the smartest person, or I've never done well at school, or maybe I've done great at school, but you see them blossom into this design thinker and believe that they can create, develop solutions for problems. And that's how we support the aspiring entrepreneurs. And so that's the programming piece. And then you'll see the e-commerce platform. And people say, well, why do you have an e-commerce platform? Because we want to support those aspiring entrepreneurs who wants to develop a product that they feel is marketable and give them a place to sell it.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also want to support other entrepreneurs and give them a place to sell. Because as you know, one of the hardest things to do as an entrepreneur, and especially in the underserved community, is get the resources to create, a marketplace and to manage it and to run it.
Right.
And so we provide that for our vendors, for folks who say, I have a great product, maybe I'm a single mom, but I have something I want to sell. I can't manage my own site. We said, look, you can put it on our site. We'll do the digital marketing for you. We have the magazine, and that is why we have the magazine, is to tell the story of these entrepreneurs and give them another outlet for marketing. And so we'll help you get this out here, in addition to giving you training and tools and mentorship and support. And so that's why we have the e-commerce platform. Now, the online academy is something that we wanted to want to help both the aspiring entrepreneurs and the entrepreneurs who are actually selling in our marketplace with continuous training, right? So once you're in our ecosystem, you get access to courses on all aspects of business, marketing, financial modeling. We have CEOs, business professionals in the academy where you can plug in and hear from them about different challenges that you may be having in your business. And so that's how Street2Ivy is structured. And so we have the community program to get people involved and excited. We have the e-commerce platform and all the associated tools to help, businesses really get off the ground and have a place to sell. And then we have the online academy to really give them continuous education. And the magazine is really just another conduit for telling that story of our entrepreneurs and keeping them engaged. Hopefully that makes sense to you, but that's what Street2Ivy is.
Yeah, that's amazing. Sheila and I actually participated in a program different, but a little bit similar in that it was like a guided course and they had a Shark Tank like event at the end. So it definitely resonates with us in terms of really enabling you to see entrepreneurship as an option, whereas before it seems like something so distant, so far away. And that's kind of where our audience is. Do you have any advice for somebody who is kind of on the verge of, should I start a company, or like entrepreneurship seems like not an option to me, of that people listening to this episode might be able to take and actually implement in their thought process when they decide to go down the route?
Yeah, I mean, and I'll have it in two buckets, right? One, the encouragement side is really believe in yourself, and know that you have what it takes as you sit here today. You don't, like I said earlier, you don't have to have 20 degrees. You don't have to be from a certain community. You have what it takes because you're an individual and you're unique, and your unique perspective could be the difference in terms of helping people solve a problem, and your solution may be marketable. Now, from the more practical side, I would say really get out and engage programs that are focused on helping people demystify the entrepreneurship program or process. And also really just be a sponge, right? And really go out and meet people. I'll give you a story. So when I got out of law school, I went to Boston College Law School. I was in Boston. I'm the first in my family to go to law school. All of my other classmates had lawyers in their family, and they were going to these law firms, and they knew what to do because maybe someone told them. I didn't know that. I knew the law, passed the bar, and I remember taking the alumni book and going through it page by page and just showing up at people's offices, having coffee and say, hey, can I talk to you for 5 minutes? Just what you do, how you do it. I mean, to the point where I was in a suit around Boston, like really working holes in my shoes, going to talk to people. But what that has done for me is my network now is so strong because those people made me, they gave me 5 minutes. They didn't have a job or something to give me right away, but their input was so valuable. But even more valuable than that, that relationship. And that's what entrepreneurship should be about. So if you have a desire to do it, one, believe that you're worthy and you can do it, but then take that belief and get out there and start meeting people, knock on the door. Don't go away. Some people are going to close the door, but many more people are going to open it and talk to you. And one, you'll get the information you need. And then two, you'll build some great relationships.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, I was trying to pull up a quote on Twitter I just came across, but it was something about like, you can get your MBA for the cost of buying someone a lunch, or, like if you go out, say, can you get coffee? Can I buy you lunch? You can get hundreds or thousands of dollars worth of value from that 30-minute conversation.
Absolutely. And it's so rewarding just to really meet people and hear their specific journeys, because you don't know people. We all have biases and assumptions about people, but when you have an opportunity to sit down and hear their story, it's absolutely amazing, because you would have never known that. And it just gives you another perspective. You may look at someone, and I used to do this, say, well, this person had it all. They had a silver spoon. And then you talk to them and they're like, no, my family didn't help me at all. And I really had to struggle. And I remember X, and then all of the things that they've done. And so you just don't know who people are until you actually get to know them. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's a great way to do it. Yeah.
I'm curious, because it's so important to have those people who do open, can help open doors for you. Did you have mentors growing up that have propelled you forward?
Yeah, I certainly did. I mean, I was an athlete in high school. My coaches were really, supportive. My family, of course, was, although, we didn't have that background of, higher education. They were very supportive, right, and really encouraged me. And then when I got into being a lawyer, I really had the support of local lawyers. One guy, Wayne Budd, who was the Assistant Attorney General of the United States, he would take me in under his wing and just have that conversation. And just that conversation alone, and like a guy like this is going to take 5 minutes to talk to me, is empowering in and of itself. Right. And so those things I was fortunate to have, and those people really helped me out.
So I have a couple of last questions. One is, how can we pay it forward? Like we were talking about in past episodes, like actually doing actionable items that we can pay it forward or help out around our community. Are there ways that we can do that kind of on a smaller scale than like the corporations?
Yeah, I would say the biggest thing is be authentic, because your experience, there's someone watching you who they don't believe that they can even do what you do, because they admire you, and you'll be surprised. And what's helpful to people is to really hear the true story of your experience. And I think that that's important. We can all do that. We can all be authentic. Let's not hide the struggles we've been through. Let's share those so other people who may be going through the same thing can know that it's possible. Because oftentimes I see we get into corporate environments and everyone wants to act like they've never had a challenge and their life has been perfect. And I understand why we all do it, but there's someone who's waiting to hear, no, I struggled through something and I made it. And that will be empowering to them. So I think that's something we can easily do. And then really, motivating people and young people and helping them realize that they are enough today. Right now, you hear so much about, and they hear so much about what they cannot do and how hard the world is and how bad things are. just take a moment to really encourage someone to say, hey, look, you are good enough today, and you have what it takes. And I think those things cost nothing, but I think they're so powerful.
For sure. I love that. I think it's important that there's a lot of hardship and everyone faces different struggles and battles, but it's amazing to see kind of your story of how the way you grew up and the way you've been able to impact individuals and communities.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of the exciting things about meeting new people and being alive, right? Everyone has a different story, and I always think that you can learn from everyone, but we all have to be authentic, and we need to be given the space to be authentic, and know that we're all on our own individual development journeys, but there's so much we can do to support each other along the way.
How can people get connected with you or learn more about Street2Ivy?
Well, certainly follow us on social media. You can reach out to me directly, like the info at Street2Ivy. I get all of those emails too. My team will get them, but I see all of them. And just really reach out, because our mission is to empower that next generation of change makers. If we get enough people believing that they can do good, I think we'll see more good being done.
What are you most excited about for the next generation?
Really, all their creative ideas, right, and really innovation. I think is exciting. New ways of looking at old problems. Really, people who are willing to take a risk and take us to new places. I think that's exciting. When you talk about control, to me, it's hard to think about doing the same thing every day over and over again. But the idea of being able to create something new or support someone else who's creating something new that can have a large impact is just very exciting. And so I'm excited about that because I think this next generation and all of us, we have that ability to do that.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Tavares. Am I pronouncing that correctly? Okay.
Yeah.
Tavares. Awesome. Thank you so much for being here. It was great to meet you and learn more about you.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.